Hi, I'm Tess from Dusty Betty, and today I've got 10 tips to get your girlfriend hooked on mountain biking. I meet guys on the trail all the time who say, I wish I could get my girlfriend out mountain biking. Well, I wish that you could too. And I want to set you and her up for success, which is why I created this video to give you some tips. Now, no two women are the same, no two people are the same. I'm speaking in generalities, but these tips are based on my experience getting into the sport and helping other women get into the sport. Tip number 1 is that you need to adjust your expectations a little bit. If you're going to get her hooked on mountain biking, you're going to have to focus on making it fun for her. That means that for a while, you're probably not going to be able to ride at your regular speed on your regular trails. But remember that you're making an investment in her future in mountain biking, and the day may come where she beats you down your favorite trails. Tip number 2 is start simple. Depending on your girlfriend's background and history with bikes, she may need help focusing on some of the really simple stuff that you take for granted, like ease of shifting and braking. So make sure that you're aware of her needs and take the time to set her up for success before you even hit the trail. Make sure that you don't overwhelm her with advice. She's going to need some tips so that she can have a good experience on the trail, but maybe just give her 2 or 3 things to focus on at a time. Give her a chance to master those before you start putting things on. That was definitely the case for me. I was trying to read the trail and focus on these techniques. It was just a lot at once. So that was one thing that helped, was just pick a few things to work on at a time. Tip number 3 is to put her on the right bike. If you're 6'1", don't put your 5'1" girlfriend on your bike from 10 years ago. Bike size is so important, especially for smaller riders. It can instill so much confidence to be on the right size bike. I'm not suggesting that she needs to go out and buy a brand new bike for her first few rides, but it could be a good idea for her to borrow a bike from someone else, or maybe even rent one. It'll be money well spent if it helps her have a good time. Now, I realize that it's taboo to ask a woman how much she weighs, but it is essential to know this in order to get the suspension set up correctly for her. And this will go a long way toward her having a positive riding experience. Many women have smaller hands, and most brake levers were designed to fit men's hands. So you may need to adjust the brake lever and bring it in a little bit closer to her grip so that she's not having to reach for it. Now, most of us know about optimal saddle position, but if she's not super comfortable on a bike, I'd recommend actually setting the seat a little bit lower to start out with. It'll just give her more confidence that if she needs to stop and put her foot out, that she can reach the ground easily. And just make sure that the bike is generally well tuned. Make sure that it's shifting smoothly. If it's grinding every time that she shifts, she's going to shy away from shifting. And it's a bad habit to get in, and it makes riding a lot less fun if you're not in the right gear. Another thing is making sure that the brakes are working well. A lot of times we'll go out with a friend and they've got someone new they're trying to introduce to it, and they've got them on this janky old bike with janky old brakes that don't work. That could really ruin her experience, and it's going to be hard to get her out riding again if you put her on a lousy bike. Tip number 4 is to stay with her. It's frustrating and discouraging to be constantly in the back by yourself. We all know that guy who goes skiing with his girlfriend, they get to the top of the lift and he says, "See you at the bottom." Don't be that guy. Be patient, stay with her. Remember, this day is all about her and her experience. I was a runner before I got into mountain biking, but when I first started getting into it, I still needed a lot of breaks. They were different muscle sets, and it's just a very different kind of exercise. So make sure that you're meeting her needs. Even if she's active, she may still need a lot of breaks when she's on a bike. I used to feel bad, like I was holding my husband Steve back, but he was always really patient and reminded me that it was about spending time mountain biking together and not just getting to the bottom of the trail as fast as he could. Tip number 5 is to choose your company wisely. Take your girlfriend's personality into consideration. Would she have more fun if it was a big group ride, or would she be a little more relaxed if it was just the 2 of you? Even though for me, when I started mountain biking, my goal was to be able to ride with our friends, it was helpful for me to have some time with just Steve and I on the trail. There was a lot less pressure, and it gave me a chance to gain some confidence. Tip number 6 is to choose the right trail to take her on. This is where a lot of guys go wrong early on. She can have a really negative experience if you throw her into something that she's not ready for. It's better to have her say, "This trail is boring, let's try something a little harder," than it is to have her say, "This is scary, I hate this, and I never want to go mountain biking again." We really, really want to avoid that at all costs. Every woman is different. Some may need to start on pavement, others may be ready to hit some easy single track right away, but I recommend not going with anything harder than a green circle to start with. It's always easier to find a trail that's a little more challenging. I'd recommend finding a short loop that's maybe a half a mile or less and run it several times. When I was learning, that really helped me because I wasn't worried so much about what was around the next corner, and I could relax and enjoy the experience a little bit more. Tip 7 is to consider that you might not be the right person to coach your girlfriend as she enters this sport. Teaching her a new skill could introduce some tension into your relationship. Consider how she takes corrective feedback from you, and that may give you a pretty good indication if it would be a good idea for someone else to help her get started. Here at Dusty Betty, we're huge fans of women-specific clinics. When I first started riding with other women really changed the experience for me. I don't know how to describe it, but it just has a really different vibe. It felt a lot lower key, but it also gave me a lot of confidence, and it also gave me something to aspire to. Remember that not all women's clinics are the same. Some of them are geared toward producing World Cup racers, other ones are more focused on enjoyment and just gaining confidence on the bike. Help your girlfriend choose a clinic that's going to match her personality well and also be a good skill level for her to start at. Here at Dusty Betty, we offer some women's only clinics. Ours are focused more on enjoyment and just gaining confidence on the bikes. So be sure that you head over to dustybetty.com to see when and where we're offering clinics next. Tip number 8, have your girlfriend subscribe to this channel and visit dustybetty.com. Dusty Betty is all about women mountain biking. You'll get to see my progress as I move forward in this sport. You'll get to see me wrench on my bike, which is probably going to be hilarious, but I'm excited to learn about it, and I'm excited to get other women feeling like this is something that they can tackle too. We'll have meetups, trail rides, giveaways, and I can't wait for your girlfriend to become a Dusty Betty. Tip number 9 is to give her time. My first 10 rides were really spaced out. It took a while for me to get to the point where I was excited about it and wanted to really progress in the sport. But I got there, and I love mountain biking now. I'm really grateful that my husband gave me the time to learn to love it on my own. Tip number 10 is a reminder that you can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do. If your girlfriend doesn't want to do this on some level, you can't make her want to. I wish you guys the best of luck getting your girlfriends hooked on mountain biking. If you have any other tips or ideas, make sure that you post them in the comments below. I want to see more Dusty Bettys hitting the trail every day, and guys, we're going to need your help to make that happen. Best of luck!